Hello, friend. Welcome back to the Homeschool podcast. We're so glad that you can join us today. Today, we are talking about things you can do when you're just having hard homeschool day. And we love to encourage people and pump up our homeschool moms like, yes, it's going to be great. But we have to be realistic. There are going to be some tough days. And there's going to be days when you're sick or you're really tired or your kids are fighting. So, we're going to give you some tips today that can help you on those terrible, horrible, no good, very bad days, if you know what I mean. All right. So, stick around. We hope this will encourage you. Hey, I'm Jenny Barr.
And I'm Kim Godfrey.
We're friends, former teachers, and homeschool moms ourselves who host the Homeschool Well podcast. We talk about topics that are important to homeschool moms so that you can be your child's best teacher. Okay, so our goal in this today is to give you like a little survival toolkit that you can play or replay when you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm too tired to think. I don't even know what to do right now. We know as parents that sometimes we just can't think of what to do when we're in the moment, or we're too tired, or we've just had a baby or something along those lines. But when you're homeschooling, it seems like it's magnified because you have all of these responsibilities. You're trying to parent, plus you also are responsible for your kids' education. And so it just becomes really overwhelming sometimes. And this is what we need other people for. When you try to do it yourself, you just can't even get out of your own head. I remember when I was a new mom and I had had my first child, and he was maybe, I don't know, maybe I think he was not one yet, but he kept wetting the bed at night. I don't even know what was happening. Like the diapers were not fitting correctly. He was kind of a skinny baby anyway. He's like a long, thin kid. He's 6'2" and like 155 pounds right now. But he was always just skinny and he would pee like all over the crib. I don't even know how it would work. And his diaper would still be on. I feel like it was up his back. I don't even know how that happened. But I was so tired. He would wake up in the night and I would be having to change his bed and change him. And this went on for like, seems like months. It probably wasn't that long, but no one ever told me, hey, Jen, you know what you can do? You can put layers of sheets on his bed so that all you have to do in the middle of the night is wipe him down, change his clothes, and rip the top layer off the bed. No one told me this. Like, I wasn't connected to other moms who had been through this, but I was like, I had to come up with this on my own. It took forever. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is the one thing I tell new moms when they say, do you have any advice? I'm like, yes, layer the crib, put down a mattress pad and then the sheet, and then a mattress pad and the sheet, the mattress pad and the sheet, so that if they ruin the bed and it's 2 in the morning, all you have to do is rip off the top layer, right? So sometimes we are just so in our heads and so alone that we cannot think of what we need to do, or we can't think of any other plan at the moment. So today we want to give you about 5 things that you can do, just like a little toolkit, when you're having a bad day and you're not sure what to do next and you're just too tired to think. The first thing you should do before I even get to the activities or anything is to just pray. And I have to confess, this is not always my first go to when I was a younger parent. But now, when I feel myself getting just out of control or I don't know what to do, it's become more of a habit for me. But the first thing you can do is just stop, take a pause, take a deep breath, and pray. And even if you can't find the words, there's such an encouraging verse in Romans. Romans 8 is one of those books in the Bible that just has all the famous things inside, right? But in Romans 8:26, it says, in the same way, the Spirit helps us in our weakness. We do not know what we ought to pray for, but the Spirit Himself intercedes for us through wordless groans. And I don't know about you, but that is such an encouragement for me because sometimes when I just can't even find the words to pray, I know that the Holy Spirit is interceding for me and I don't have to worry. So, the first thing we need to do when we feel like we're about to lose it or when our brain is just blowing up that little emoji. I think in emojis, so I picture like my brain with that little explosion at the top is just to stop, take a deep breath, and just ask God for help. And even if we can't find the words to say, He's getting the message. And now I'm going to tell you about some other things that you can keep in your toolkit for just what to do the rest of the day once you're done praying. So, one of the things we would do is just get out of the house. And if you have listened to any of our podcasts, you know that we spent a lot of time outside. I had very active boys. And so, one of the things that I would default to is just, we're getting out of here. We're going on a bike ride. We're going to ride our bikes through the park or around the neighborhood. So just getting out of the house and taking a break was amazing for us. You can ride skateboards, go for a walk. Also, other times, you could just go on a mini trip, like just get out of the house for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. Just go grab a smoothie or go to the park for a little bit or grab your lunch and get out of the house just to shake things up and change the scenery a bit. One other thing that I would do sometimes is I would be like, "Oh, let's go run an errand." So if I had something I had to grab real quick, or when my kids were little, the car wash. Oh my gosh, we would go to the car wash, and that would solve all of our problems. But just getting out of the house, changing the scenery, kind of helps everyone snap out of the funk. Sometimes it's not possible to get out of the house and you need some things to do in the house, like if you have a toddler sleeping or you have one car. So a couple times we would just stop what we were doing and completely change gears within the house. Just the element of surprise where you say to your kids, "All right, we're not following the schedule today. We're doing something different," can get people out of their funk or bad mood. So, if your kids are into Legos, you can have a Lego day. If they love to build things, get out all the blocks or make a fort. You can have a read aloud day where all we do is get our favorite books and get our blankets and turn the lights out, get some flashlights, and we're just going to read or read in that fort you just made. Making a special snack or getting into the kitchen and working with your hands for a little bit. Anything out of the ordinary can just change it up a little bit and let your kids be creative. And you don't have to make every single second of every day educational, but if you did want to make that educational, then after you guys are done and you're cleaning up, you can say, "Hey, let's sit down and write a little bit about what we did today. That was so fun." Have them write a paragraph or draw a picture and label it wherever they are in their learning journey. So there are ways to even take that and make it into education. Okay, so we've talked about stopping and praying, getting out of the house, doing some things in the house, and then I have two more. The next one we did this a lot. We would have videos, like just put on videos. And if you're against TV, then you wouldn't do this one. But I loved YouTube and all the things. Some of the videos that we did, there's so many educational videos, but sometimes it was hard if you didn't have a list because you just don't want your kids like watching anything. But one of the things we loved watching was some of these live streaming webcams. There's one in Florida. It's at Deerfield Beach Pier, and it's an underwater webcam, and it just sits there, and you can see all these different creatures swimming by. It is so cool. I will put it in the show notes. That was something we loved to watch, and it was very calming because it's like underwater noise, like bubbles and it was very calming and we could just sit there and just take in all the creatures and watch. Sometimes you would see like a little shark or sometimes stingrays. There's all kinds of fish. My kids were very much into fishing, especially one of my boys. So he was always naming everything as they went by. But that was something that, like, if we needed a calming break, that was very calming. We've also watched eagle cams. There's lots of those. There's one in South Florida we would watch in particular. So sometimes just watching nature like that, like a live stream, is so calming and it's also educational. Something else we would watch is just YouTube videos. Like there's so many educational ones. There's phonics ones, like Jack Hartman is someone I can think of off the top of my head who's fun and educational. We tried to put on YouTube some playlists for you. So if you search the Homeschool Well, on YouTube, we have some playlists that are educational, so you don't have to worry about what's going to pop up when your kids are watching it. But there's all kinds of different videos you can watch too. Even dance videos. Sometimes we would just put on some loud music and just go crazy and dance and get our wiggles out, and that would kind of help change the mood as well. Another channel I wish I knew about when I was homeschooling, but I didn't. I don't even know if it was a thing back then, is answers.tv. If I would have had this resource or known about it then, we would have watched it all the time. It's the streaming channel for Answers in Genesis. And there are tons of videos on there about history and creation and all kinds of things. So that is something that you could definitely sit and veg on, and it would be totally worth your time. And of course, pairing any video with a little popcorn or special snack makes it even that much better. I know microwave popcorn isn't necessarily good for you, but just having some on hand for emergencies is not a bad idea. Okay, lastly, a thing that you can keep in your survival kit here is to have a backup plan. You know how teachers in a classroom setting have subplans for when things go wrong and they can't come into school that day? They have a plan, like the emergency subplans that they keep. So, this little backup plan is like things that you keep on hand for when you're having a bad day. And I didn't have this until probably 2 or 3 years into our homeschooling, once I started to collect things. But one of the things that we did have was like a big art bin in the garage. So if I just needed something for us to do, we would pull that out. Another one I ended up having was like a science experiment bin. We had a book about science experiments. And one year I had taken the time to look through the book and choose some experiments and went to the dollar store and just grabbed all the things that I would need for that. And I just put them in a big bin so that if we ever needed to do them or when they showed up in our lesson plans or whatever we wanted to do, we could just pull that out and the materials would already be in there. Having some recipes for some special snacks that you can make together, whether you are baking them or maybe they're no bake special snacks like Jello and boxes of cake and frosting or ingredients for Play-Doh. Having any of that on hand where you can just pull them out and make them is a great thing to keep too. Even keeping a bin with just open-ended things like Dixie cups or cookie sheets or small cardboard boxes or envelopes, anything that can be really open-ended, you can have them pull that bin out and be really creative. So we hope this helps you today. We hope it gives you like some ideas to keep in your survival toolkit. So when you do have a bad day, you will have some backup plans for how to make it better. And of course, these ideas aren't rocket science, but just having someone outside of your head or someone who can help with this is what it takes when you homeschool. That is the benefit of having other people around you who have been there, done that, and can help when you just can't think. And if you are looking for something like that, that is exactly what we do. We have an online community where we meet up with moms weekly on live calls. We just had one the other day. One mom's like, okay, here's the curriculum I got. What do you guys think about this stuff? What are your thoughts? And just having someone outside of you that can give you some input or help you with things is so beneficial. To check that out, you can go to our show notes or go to the homeschoolwell.com. We even have on that first page just a place where you can book a discovery call with us if you just don't even know what you need. Maybe you want someone to sit with you for an hour by yourself so that you can go through everything. We can do that with you. Or if you want a place to go where you can just ask questions at any time, that's what part of our community is. We have a forum in there that's not on Facebook where you can get real answers when you need them. Homeschooling is definitely not easy, but it also doesn't have to be this hard. That's what we're here for. We would love to help you. So check that out, and we hope this was helpful for you today. And please reach out to us if you have any questions at all. All of our links are in our show notes. All right. Thanks for hanging out with us today, and we will see you here again next week.
Are you looking for a place to connect with other homeschool moms? Well, we have a platform where members gather to support each other throughout their homeschool journeys. Moms just like you. We even have a spot for your kids to interact online in privacy and safety. So head over there and start creating community. homeschoolwell.com.